The year is 1090, and Alfonso is slowly recovering from the crushing defeat at the Battle of Sagrajas in 1086 at the hands of the Muslim armies of Yusuf Ibn Tashfin. Ever since the battle, the taxes that he would normally impose on the emirs had stopped coming in, and he was in no position to get them. In 1090, however, he sends his right man to Abdallah ibn Balkin, the Emir of Granada, asking him for tribute and taxes for all 3 years since the battle, during which they were understandably not levied. Abdallah ibn Balkin submits to the request, as if the Battle of Sagrajas never happened. This shameful submission enraged the local Muslim citizens of Granada, so much that they started plotting against Ibn Balkin. To this day, we have poems of the time describing the discontent of the locals. At the time, Yusuf was remaining in Ceuta. Being the border city that he was, it allowed him to remain close to his informants from Spain, which told him of every move from the Emir with the Christians. Most notably, Abu Ja'far al-Qali'i, judge of Granada, is recorded to have played a big role in the public opposition to the Emir. Irritated by the news that kept coming up to him, Yusuf Ibn Tashfin meets Al-Mu'tamid in Sevilla. After gathering evidence about the treachery of Ibn Balkin with the Christians, something had to be done. And for this part, we will turn to the book of Ibn Balkin himself and quote the Emir directly. Let me add this quick disclaimer before that. The pictures that you'll see in the book are AI generated, and they're not meant to be accurate description of the times. Abdallah ibn Balkin writes, quote, "The Emir of the Muslims, Yusuf ibn Tashfin, sent us a letter in which he stated, 'Come to us now, and do not make us wait 1 hour too much.' I excused myself from the order and sent instead 2 envoys, which the Emir promptly jailed, after telling them, 'By Allah, I shall wage war onto him, just like we waged war onto Alfonso.'" End quote. The wrath of the Emir was something to behold. Shortly after, he sends back the 2 envoys who apparently were roughed up a little during their stay, along with his most capable soldiers, to let the Emir of Granada know about the situation. And Yusuf was not one to make empty claims. Shortly after, his armies were knocking at the gates of Granada. Abdallah ibn Balkin continues, quote, "The Emir then sent an army to Granada as an effort to siege the city and prevent Christian forces from entering it. I decided then to send some of my fuqaha to the Emir with money, to let him know that I consider myself as his own son, and that I would not oppose anything he did. Whatever he willed, I would obey." We heard back from the Emir's faqih Ibn Sa'dun, who brought a letter written by the Emir's own hands, in which he guarantees safe passage to him and his family without his possessions. At the end of the letter, Yusuf says the following, quote, "If you surrender, you can select a place from your kingdom outside Granada in which you will remain until we decide of your case." End quote. Now, Abdallah ibn Balkin even tells us of the situation inside Granada during the siege that lasted 2 months. He continues, quote, "When we turned to our people, we found out that the reactions to the situations were not unanimous. The Berber soldiers in our armies felt somewhat proud to be delivered by the Berber Almoravids. All agreed not to fight back, and to send letters expressing obedience, to which Yusuf answered that they were safe and could remain in their positions in the military under his command. The traders and inhabitants of the land would side with whomever came out the leader after the siege, as they had no desire nor capabilities to fight. Finally, the farmers, which were the pillars of the economy, were the first to obey the new ruler." End quote. Abdallah ibn Balkin was surrounded and had no option left. He surrendered himself and all his possessions to the Almoravids. And so, in 1090, the Almoravids enter the jewel city of Granada. He continues, quote, "Upon meeting Yusuf ibn Tashfin, he assured us once again for my family and myself security and respectful treatment to save what little dignity there was left. He then ordered that we were to be surveilled, until he made sure that we would be true to our word." Yusuf ibn Tashfin entered the palace of Granada and remained there for some time, the time it took to clean house. Most notably, he removed all taxes imposed on locals and kept in place only what the Islamic law legislated, the zakat and the charity. The people of Granada welcomed the news with great relief. And so, Granada was the first Spanish city the Almoravids took over, but wouldn't be the last. Abdallah was then given 300 dinars, 3 servants, and 5 cattle for the upcoming trip. He was moved to Algeciras, accompanied by a small group of Almoravids, where he remained for some time, after what they moved him to Ceuta. He writes that he spent his time praying and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that his deeds may be forgiven. From there, he was moved to Meknes, where Yusuf's companion, the famous Sir Ibn Abu Bakr, was waiting for him. He writes that he received a letter from the commander of the Muslims himself, a letter in which Yusuf made his heart at ease and addressed him in a beautiful and respectful manner, despite having done what he has done. Shortly after these events, Tamim ibn Balkin, Abdallah's brother and the Emir of Malaga, was also deposed and exiled in the region of Sousse in Morocco. The series will continue with the deposition of the Emirs of Almeria, Cordoba, Sevilla and Badajoz, and the consolidation of power at the hands of the Almoravids. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon. And if you would like to help the channel, consider liking, commenting or sharing. This would help immensely. See you next time.